There we go.
Okay.
Now we're perfect.
Yes, sorry.
So I said you literally cut out when you said my name, so I'm like, yes.
Oh, I was saying like, the same shit that you make fun of, like gobbledygook drawings, like blah blah blah, blah, like shitting out all your fucking inner demons or whatever. Like that's that is like sort of my daily practice. And again, I don't offer them up as anything but that. That's what it is. But there's drawing, graphic novels, and then I do silk screening. I do all these prints, and then I've had this like sort of mishmash of like drawing and printing and collaging it all together into these bigger things. So like I don't, I'll do the drawing outside of the studio. I'll sometimes do the graphic novel stuff outside the studio, and I actually kind of leveled up in my ability to do that because I went to the Container Store and I bought this like little case, and I can fit the pages in this plastic case, and I was just like, oh my god, I can like take this on the road now or whatever.
It's like a suitcase. Love your Lucy's, like your Lucy comic strips.
Totally. So it's I don't know. So there's certain stuff that happens in the space and like stays in the space.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck question was,
I did want to say though, like in terms of like the art where you're like shitting out everything that's ever happened in your head onto the same piece of paper kind of thing. I think about your work as a way to do it. Like whenever I see that, I'm like, well, it's not like ninja, it's not like maggots. You know what I mean? Like because like having the same size paper, having the same pen, like these little ideas, like the way that it snakes around, or maybe it doesn't. Like there's actually a lot of things about what you're doing in your comics that are very consistent, precise, not just whatever the fuck you want to do. Really,
it's true. Yeah.
Like, and that makes all the fucking difference. Because
I try to stick with there's a vocabulary and I'm trying.
Yeah, do you
especially a narrative, you know what I mean? Like it's like even however loose they are, now you're giving us an actual reading of your internal world instead of just a spewing of it, right? Like
totally.
And I think that to me that's the whole difference anyway.
And I think everybody, you're supposed to have a sketchbook.
Right.
You just,
I think
like not everything is supposed to be offered up as sort of like a final.
Right.
Like that would be the worst, to sort of feel like, oh my god, this has got to be really good.
Every single time. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you don't want that. And it's the same with my all these tapes I have on this wall is just jamming. Like I've recorded everything.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I have every lightning bolt. Well, I think I do. Although I've recently been like unable to find some of the late 90s stuff. It's like missing. I'm worried I might have lost it. Although I have basically every lightning bolt practice from 2000 to 2025, and then every solo practice from whatever I started, like 2005 to 2025, like in these tapes. And it's the same thing. It's sketchbooks, and it's like, but man, some of it is I started a Patreon, and like I've been putting up some of these jams, like going through them, because to me it's like pinnacle, and it's like pinnacle like solo or pinnacle lightning bolt stuff, because it's not trying to be, it's weird, like Brian and I talk about the lightning bolt albums kind of like they're not our favorite lightning bolt, like they're kind of these like worked on ideas, but we still feel like they don't capture what we truly are, which is kind of like this jam. We're kind of a jam band.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some my favorite recordings from you guys are just one-offs that came from somewhere. You know what I mean? Not on an album, no song. Like, you'll never know what song it actually was meant to be on the set list. You know what I mean? I like that. I really like that about.
And I've been trying to I've been going back, and so it's a weird. So the same idea. Like you have these sketchbooks that aren't meant to be finished products. Yet at the same time, like I have, like even when I'm just jamming and trying to be totally free, I have like these systems that I sort of put onto them, like, oh, like a change right here would be nice. Like, oh, like a vocal part right here would be nice. Like while I'm working and while I'm doing these things.
Yeah.
And then my drawings, like I don't want to be kind of orchestrating the page. I want to be like, I'm just drawing. But I'm still sort of just like, nah. It would be nice to move the flow this way or whatever. So I don't know. I can't be free, basically. I'm trapped. That's what I'm saying.
No matter how much chaos you try to bring in.
I've got a fucking vocabulary, and I can push it, but I'm like limited by it as well.
Well, yeah, you do need a vocabulary in order to speak. I mean,
you do.
Anyway,
I guess so.
One thing I thought was interesting, I was reading an interview and you were talking about how some of your music, and this would be counterintuitive maybe to somebody that would listen to your music for the first time, was kind of inspired, or you're taking stuff from pop music and it's going through your own brain and then it's coming out, and obviously it has its own sound. Does that ever happen with stuff like the visual art as well, like things that would be counterintuitive coming into the visual experience and making itself out into your work?
Right. I mean, it might. Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah. In the music, it's very. I like that kind of happens a lot. Or I don't know if it happens a lot. Like I remember when Sinead O'Connor died. I remember being like, I want to play Nothing Compares to You for something. And it was a little bit like, I want to make something for online. Like, because I figured out how to do like videos synced up to the music. And I was like, I'm going to make a video of Nothing Compares to You. Because she just passed and like that song rips. Nothing compares. But it's like, even when I air drum it, I'm like, nothing compared. Like, and because I think, like, I'm a spaz, and so I actually really I listen to pop music a lot. Like, I really like pop music, and I like searing choruses, and, like, I love, like, what have I been listening to lately? I can't remember anything. So, I'm into it. Like, Rihanna, or, like, fucking, like, whatever. I'm into this sort of big production pop music. But, yeah, when I sit down to play, a lot of times, I'll even sometimes just start from that. Like, I'll sing something like that and go from there. And so when I was doing this Nothing Compares to You, I just get so excited from the feeling of that music that it goes off in these, like, ridiculous, they're not free jazz, but, like, they're that way. Because, to me, the weird thing about pop music is that it's so emotional, but it's, like, so constrained. You're just like... it's probably a drum machine that's unwavering. And it's just like, when you get excited, you're hearing these songs, like your heart beats faster. So as a drummer, like I just go with that or something.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think that's been, and that doesn't go away like that. That's just the way I'm built. Like I am channeling kind of the feelings of pop music through my music, and it's coming out like a fucking avalanche or whatever. So in visual art, I reference a lot of pop stuff, like, but it's not the same. It's, and I was thinking about, because I played drums before we talked, just for a little while, but just enough to get, it's fucking like 90 degrees in my studio, so just enough to get like a good sweat on, which is like soaking through already. Yep. But and I was thinking a little bit, because I was just like, oh, I wonder if, sometimes it comes up, like, how does your music relate to your art? Like, that question. That's this question that always comes up.
Yeah.
And, there's the whole, like, fill every space answer. But then I was just like, but it's not the same. It's just like, when you're making music, it's like every millisecond is a complete canvas. Like, it's almost like if you chopped, it has a lot more to do with animation. Like, every frame is the full thing. But music is just so, it's just this constant, it's just this other thing. Like you're so in it. Like everything you do affects the entire canvas at all times. Where when you're drawing or you're making a painting, like you can only, unless you have a brush as big as your canvas, and it's just one color, but it just doesn't line up.
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying.
You can't
step away. You can take your tool off
the dimensionality of time isn't there.
But it all takes time, and you can't affect it at the same rate. So you can't. So like me channeling pop music in my music and feeling this like overwhelming chaos and like love and emotion and like pouring it out and it turning into like speed metal drums over, Sinead O'Connor lyrics, which I'm shitty at lyrics, and I'm getting right anyway. It doesn't compare to me like cutting out like a He-Man head and gluing it in and then obscuring it in some fashion, like, or even a Rihanna head or like a sun. Like it doesn't. It's a nothing compares to the music. Did you catch that? Nothing.
Yeah, I got it.
Like it's different. So I there is a lot. I enjoy like the pop referencing that, you know, I actually do like to put in our music. Like there is pop references in our music, and I put that into my art as well. But it's kind of a different set. It's a different set of references. I feel like in my art, I'm still stuck in all this like sort of my childhood, whatever ephemera. That's like I'm stuck in my head and I'm still processing, and you know those old comics I read or something. But like in my music, it's a little more cutting edge. Like I can hear something that day and carry that with me into the music. And I don't know, it's different. But in my drawings, I'm always cycling through. But when I'm starting to make bigger pieces, a lot of times the things that bubble to the top are like older references, and they don't bubble the way like a song bubbles into your head. It's a slower time. Making art is just the time. It's just different. Music is just like real time, complete, like fully engaged, everything changing. And then art, you just piece it together. No matter how fast you work,
right.
You're like stepping away. You're considering. So, the way you kind of like regurgitate things and the way you reference things just works differently, I think, in the two.
You just made me think. The one thing I really wanted to talk to you about was Milford Graves.
Milford Graves, yes.
I remember hearing you mention him once about someone was asking what drummers you look up to. I was taught drums by Milford Graves at Bennington.
Amazing.
So I was like, no way he's also into Milford Graves. But the heartbeat and the fucking drumming. Yeah.
Yes, that's Milford Graves for sure.
That's Milford Graves. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really know what I wanted to say about that, but he's just a man. And
I wish I never met him. I never met him.
Okay.
You know, I've listened to his records not countless times, like a lot.
Yeah.
And I've watched videos, and I'll even sometimes put him on. Like somebody sent me this archive on YouTube of like, I don't even know if they're public or what, but a bunch of his like live things.
Yeah.
I know I have some link somewhere buried somewhere where I like click on it and it goes to a Milford Graves playlist that I can't seem to find any other way. But I'll sometimes put him on, and like that'll be like the sort of jumping off point for playing.
No way.
I'll kind of go from there.
Cool.
Do you know Greg Fox? You must.
I don't know Greg Fox.
Okay,
no.
Greg Fox is another drummer, but he's like he studied with Milford Graves too, so he was
Okay.
And he went and visited him a bunch before he passed away. And
There's a guy I also went to school with made a movie or like a documentary on Milford called The White Mantis, I think it's called.
Yeah. The something mantis. The
something
white
mantis.
Yeah,
I thought it was White Mantis, but
maybe.
Anyway.
That sounds like it wouldn't be what it was.
Right.
It could
sounds
be.
like a weird word.
But
he was,
that movie's I've watched. It's funny.
Yeah.
I know there's this guy Neil Young.
Not the one we're thinking.
Not the one. Yeah. No, wait. Is it Neil?
Is it actually Neil Young?
Maybe it's Neil from Fat Worm of Error.
Okay.
Is it Younger? What the fuck is his last name? Cloud? He's got all these weird names. But anyway, he was like he worked on that movie. Not the guy you knew, but.
No, I only knew the main director of it.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. That's another thing. That movie is sort of like I'm looking around at my books. So like certain books I have, like I've watched like the first half an hour of that movie, and I'm like, this is the best fucking movie ever. And then I'm like, pause, and I walk away or whatever. It's like I have certain books like Labyrinth by what's his fucking name? Jorge's. I'm like, I love this book. I've never read that whole book.
I love to try to read this book.
I know, one of my favorite books of all time. Like I'll like sleep with that book under my pillow and like gaze at its cover. I love it, but I can't read it. Power Object. And I kind of look at the Mantis movie in a similar way. Like, I will watch that whole movie, but what I've seen, I love. But it's almost like too inspiring. Like, I can't. I got to run off and make something. Like, I can't sit here and watch this fucking movie. It's too inspiring.
That's true. When something's almost too good, you kind of want to. It's like you're saving it as a treat for later.
Yeah, always,
you know what I mean?
Perpetually for later.
Yeah, you're like, because it might run out. All the good stuff might run out one day. So you're like, I'll come back.
That's why I haven't watched any Breaking Bad yet. I'm saving it for later. Or
There you go.
Sopranos.
What am I saving that way? Oh, I was just talking to someone about it. I forget. But yeah, there's a show I'm saving that way too.
I mean, I'm saving everything for later. I barely watch. It's like, again, I've got a fucking kid. I just watch. We just watch YouTube shorts or terrible shit. Minecraft.
My daughter loves watching the Therians, the people that have like the animal masks and tails, and she just wants to watch them jump around on YouTube. So that's what we do.
Oh yeah, cool. My guy's into just like the Minecraft, like people playing Minecraft, but they like next level, not just. There's like crazy production levels to. You're not just watching someone play Minecraft. They've orchestrated this whole thing, and there's animations, and I don't even know what's up.
They've built computers.
They built a computer in Minecraft.
Like a functioning computer. It's Minecraft.
How do they even do that?
I don't. Yeah,
that's insane.
I don't even know.
I have no idea. You should play Valheim. It's like Minecraft, except it's a little more like story and like cozy.
Oh,
like it's
Valheim.
like a good like Valheim. It's kind of like a family, more of a family Minecraft. My daughter and my son and I like that a lot.
I'll have
we
to
get
check
to like
that
build
out.
our own little castle, you know. Anyway.
Sounds cozy.
Yeah.
What else?
We had like questions from viewers.
Yeah, I guess.
Asked all the questions. I don't know.
Well, I did want to know. You know, I guess this is taking a big step back, but you know, I'm always curious about artists and their upbringing. Did you come up in a household that was an artistic household, or was this something that you kind of led yourself into on your own? You know,
I did not. I mean, my parents were. Yeah, they weren't. It's now it's funny. Late in life now, like my parents are still alive. My dad's they're both in their mid-late 70s. And my dad's gotten into he plays a clarinet, and he like plays in like band like local band where they do covers, and they play like 4th of July parade and stuff. Like they're in a small town. And so he's become kind of really into music, and he was always into singing. But when I was growing up, he was just like, he just worked, and then he came home and he chilled out and watched sports, and we did a lot of sports together, and like Boy Scouts together. He was very in my life. But it was like sort of on his, with the stuff he was into, we did together. But we didn't draw together. He didn't draw. He didn't play music really back then. My mom did like ballet when she was young, and she kind of was, I feel like she was dancing still even when I was a little kid. But no, it wasn't an artistic family. But somehow my sister got really into, I have an older sister by a couple years. She became a violinist, and still to this day, now she's like a music teacher in the Philadelphia school system. Like she's like she's stayed with music, and I somehow became a musician, and I went to art school. But it just came out of, it's like, I don't know where the hell it came from. It just sort of
like why RISD,
Well, the why RISD thing is funny because like I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and it's like I did my 3 college applications like in detention after school or whatever.
Okay.
Like I was just like not just phoning in school. I did not do so well in school as expected. I did well in art class. I was into art from a very young age. But I had a friend, so I had gone and looked at Rhode Island School of Design, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling it. And then I went and looked at, I think in Baltimore, Maryland Institute of Art or whatever it is. MICA. Yeah, MICA.
Yep.
And I was kind of psyched on MICA. And then a friend of mine went up and went to RISD, and he's like, I love RISD. Like, we got to go to RISD. Vaughn Johnson, this friend. And and I was just like, really? Okay. So I went back up there. Somehow I convinced my parents to drive me the fucking back to Rhode Island. And then I sat in on some studio or a crit, and I loved it. Like I spoke, who knows what I said, but I just remember very specifically being like, it was like a 3D, it was like a painting, but it had all these 3D elements, and I was just like, there's like the bottle shape painted, and then there's like a bottle up front, and I got all psyched about. I just felt really like part of this thing, and I was like, Vaughn, fuck yeah, let's go. I came back, I like accepted, I got in or whatever, and then he ditched. Vaughn went to like whatever school in Philadelphia, like not whatever the. I don't remember what the school is.
UPenn or whatever?
Not UPenn. What's the Tyson? Tyler. He went to Tyler School of Art. Yeah, he ditched. It was funny. The whole reason I went there was because of Vaughn, and then Vaughn went to Tyler in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. So I kind of just like, I mean, it's like the story of my life. Like, I just sort of fucking tripped my way into RISD, which, you know, really, the relationships I met there, like, steered my life in a huge way.
Right.
To start playing drums, like, me and my best friend were not musicians. We just whatever. I like as a kid, I would always set up like pots and pans and be like, like I was always banging on stuff. I just kind of like had a lot of energy. So when my best friend, his dad got remarried, and so these two other like kids our age came in, like his new stepbrother and that guy's best friend, and that guy, like one of them played guitar and one of them played bass. And one of them knew like every Damned song, and the bass player knew every Metallica song. Like that's what they knew. And Husker Du, like the guitarist really liked Husker Du. And so me and my best friend were like, let's start a band, and we were like, we don't play instruments, and it was like let's sing. I want to sing. So we both wanted to sing, and so we drew straws, and I lost. And so I was like, you got to drum or whatever. I was like told to drum.
The drums.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So it's funny. It's like so many things I've made. It's just been like a fail. Like I failed my way into the position.
I had, you know, one of my favorite things about Crit is it's like a time of reflection on your own art, and sometimes that can be painful, but also it can be like a great time to grow as a person. Was there ever a time, you know, when you were at art school that you received a crit that kind of lasted with you, that like maybe changed the way that you looked at art or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, God, again, I was telling some Fort Thunder stories. There's this movie that came out. Again, all my answers are like tangents, but as are my comics and my music. But this Secret Mall Apartment movie came out recently.
Yep.
Which
that was another RISD thing, right?
And he lived in Fort Thunder for like a year or so, and I knew that guy from freshman year. He was a couple years older.
Fucking everybody's been through there. God,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and so he and it was interesting because I did a whole big long interview with the guy, which got whittled. I'm in that movie for like a minute or two or whatever. Yeah. But that was the first time I'd ever been like, I don't remember. Like, I knew everything that happened at Fort Thunder, like, down to a T, you know? But that interview, which happened a couple years ago, was the first time I was just like, I'm fucking forgetting stuff. Like, I'm old enough now. So that was my long way. And I think having a kid, again, you get this inflow of new memories, and the old ones just start to tumble away. Yeah. So me remembering a crit, so that was a long way of answering. That, like, I don't fucking remember shit about crits. And again, I wasn't the best receiver of critique. Again, I had a certain arrogance, I think, in all of that. But I do remember one, and it was freshman year. This guy named Tom Mills was the drawing teacher at RISD. And he was, like, legendary, or known very much. Like, he would go to Rome every year and draw the catacombs. He drew these, like sort of just, I don't know, very like lush catacomb drawing. I don't know if they were lush, but like, you know, beautiful, like a charcoal with like wonderful grays and darks and lights and like these organic catacomb drawings. So I remember being in his class, and I really enjoyed his class, but there was this one time where I was drawing the figure and I was just like, I'm out of paper. And so I masking taped more paper onto my paper, and I just drew over the masking tape, and then I started like putting the masking tape in interesting places or whatever. And he was not psyched. And it was another guy in my class that drew a little bit more like Tom. And obviously this had a big impression on me because I remember it. And it was I can't remember his name. Maybe his name was like, he had an interesting name. It wasn't Pedro, but it was like Prieta or something. Anyway, there was a guy that drew this very beautiful sort of lush figure drawings in the class, and Tom loved his drawings. And then he fucking hated what I was doing. He hated the tape. He was like, this is bullshit. Like, and I was friends with this other drawer, and he was like, look at, P guy's work. Like, I don't even understand how you guys would be friends. Like, the way the two of you are drawing. Like, that is just pop art bullshit. Like, the way you're using the masking tape and like putting the tape on the front. And it was
drawing on it.
Yeah. And instead of me being like, you're right, Tom Mills. And I really enjoyed, like, another thing I remember from Tom, like, when you would draw the figure, he would get you to stand in the pose so you could feel the weight, so you could kind of like direct the weight of your line with the weight of the stance, which I thought was great. And I still think that's like an awesome lesson.
That's a good idea.
But he did not like masking tape fucking with the surface. Like, he was against that. And I definitely came out of that being like, I don't agree. Like, I was like, who fucking cares? Like, who cares? Yeah. Why do you care so much? So I hit a weird note with that. And in a way, there's a couple times where teachers were like, what the fuck are you doing in here? Like, I don't know. And they kind of validated something, sort of just like, all right, you're going to do your own thing. Like, somebody asked me, I actually got one question from someone, an old musician that I know, and they were like, can you talk about, like, every artist has a period where you question whether you should be an artist, and you sort of question your life path, and like what, you decide. Like, I mean, this is what they were thinking. And I was kind of like, I haven't ever had that. I've questioned whether, when it's like, when I have like $60 in my bank account and the babysitter's going to cost $100 in 2 hours, I've questioned whether it was like the smartest path or something. Right. Or I've questioned like the tactics I've used, or like my sort of stances around whatever selling out is or whatever. But I've never questioned whether, like, this is what I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, there are no other options for me. Right. And that's more
a bad critique isn't going to put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. Where I think some people walk away or whatever. Like, some people can't take it and they're like, you're right, or maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. Like, I just can't. Maybe I've gotten too much validation, or I got too much at a young age from like my peers or young people, or I don't know. But and I think part of it is, and I feel like maybe you said something about this, Taylor, too. It's just like, I don't have any other qualifications. Like, I'm on the path because, not just because I feel like I'm pretty good at this stuff and I have a voice, but it's also just like, it's the only option I have.
Yeah. I mean, I am the same way. Like, that's why hard critique worked for me too. Or, like, I was in visual art getting critiques like, this is bullshit from my teachers all the time.
Yeah.
But like, I'm another kind of person that like, I don't get creative block. I get like external blocks, like transitions, or just something keeps me from it. But as soon as I get there, I'm there. And so all bad critiques did for me were just like, gave me fuel to make more.
Yeah, totally.
And like, my whole job at school was to make art. So yeah, it didn't like affect me the way that it affected me positively. And I'm, doing the thing I do now. I realize it's not, it maybe isn't the critique style for every person to receive.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I get, you definitely, I couldn't quote anything, but you definitely, like, there's lines that come out of your critiques where you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Because I just can't. I'm not so good at talking about. I've never been that good at talking about art. Even like going through critique after critique at school, many of which I enjoyed, but I came out of or I got something from. But I came out of art school just not knowing a fucking thing about art. So I just, again, I think maybe because of just like this sort of like use a hammer to solve every problem approach, I just wasn't listening. I don't know. I was just doing.
Yeah. You make your way out of things, sort of.
Yeah,
just
maybe.
Yeah.
Although I love a good critique, and I love. And again, that's one of my frustrations with so many things, like even like writing about our albums, or you know when they get written about, or my graphic novels. Is like I don't, these people just say fucking nothing, like especially graphic novels, like the shit, like a review of your graphic novel. They're just like what, I mean, I know the pay is low, but I don't know.
Yeah, right.
So it's really rad to see your critiques, because it's just like you're fucking cutting to the bone quickly. And again, it might scare some people off, but hopefully it makes them stronger. And like, it's just, it's hard actually to get critiques these days. Like people just don't even.
Yeah. I mean, I can charge people for them on fucking Instagram. That's how much people are dying for it. It's crazy.
Amazing.
I'll get like people that are in art school being like, my teachers won't tell me shit. Please, God, someone tell me something. Yeah. It's crazy how much that happens.
That's sick. It's awesome that you're carving out a niche to do that.
Yeah. I did have an artistic family, and that's why I can talk that way. I mean, because it was how they were talking around me from my childhood.
Okay.
And my grandfather was like an art historian and constantly just like very autistic, could only talk about art. That's how we communicated, basically, is like, if you're not talking to him about art, you're not talking to him.
It's funny how that seems, on some level, that seems like a dream grandparent, but also I can understand why that's,
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, it's like I never really got hugs from him. I never really.
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about him other than how encyclopedic his mind is on art.
Yeah.
Which, like for a thing to know a lot about art will reveal who you are. Like through his tastes and things, I can kind of tell things about him. But he really does communicate through his ideas about art. And
that's interesting.
So,
that feels like that would be a fun character to like sort of write, like everything translated.
He's a really fun character. But yeah, I definitely had like an advantage, like even in crits at school, like I did have an articulation.
You could talk shit back.
I could talk, yeah. Well, like I wasn't as good at it. I wasn't as good at it in art school, but art school definitely like honed that for me, and a thing I already kind of had.
Yeah.
And it's not I don't know.
That's great, because a lot of people in school are bad. I was pretty good at critiques in school too, because I had some weird intuition to see through a lot of bullshit. Like I could just see.
And also critique can sometimes be a source of projection in some ways.
So many ways.
You have to be able to.
Tom there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Obviously going with his taste.
Yeah.
What he liked better.
Absolutely.
It was the better one.
He couldn't see it. He couldn't see.
Yeah.
All he could see was mask. And it was weird. And it stuck with me. Like, wow, this guy can like really. It's just such a visceral reaction from this fucking mask.
Sometimes having that vocabulary can allow you to like weather that, because it's like, oh, I know that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way. I don't know.
I still took everything my teacher said so hard. Like I was like, a bad critique would hurt me and like set me down a little bit.
Yeah.
It didn't stop me making, but like I didn't have that like, well, whatever. Like
right.
I know what I'm doing. I did take a minute.
It's like, you have to contemplate it a little bit. You have to like give it its due for a second, maybe.
Now you're getting your vengeance now.
Yeah, now I'm getting my vengeance.
Yeah, now he's gonna go totally shit on him.
Yeah.
No, I love you, Ann Piple. Oh, sorry.
But aside, my family though, I want to definitely say I had a very loving family, so it was definitely a good environment.
Yeah.
Do you ever, whenever you're working on something like that, this is, I guess, something I always like to ask artists is like, so a lot of artists that I've met kind of put rules on themselves, or like secret rules for themselves that they don't cross, but in some ways it kind of enhances their creativity, like boundaries that they set for themselves. Is there anything like that whenever you're writing or creating something like that, like where you're like, I'm not going to go in this direction, or I'm not going to do this, or is it just a free for all. You know, anything that inspires
Well,
you.
I think that again, it's almost like the tools that we pick. So we talk about this a lot with Lightning Bolt because, like, you know, we're like a band. We go all over the place or whatever, sort of. But like, we're a two-piece, and we play drums and bass, and I sing. Like, it is. There's so many limitations within the tool set that we're only going to achieve a certain end result. Mm-hmm. So those are the limitations. Those are like really pretty extreme limitations. Mm-hmm. That we bring in to that. And with the visual art, you know, again, like I use a certain set. It's like the tools, like I draw with a certain, like for this comic now, it's like there's a couple of pens I use. I use like a couple different size rapidograph pens. Yeah. And that defines the sort of line. And then I was doing this other comic for a little while where I was using a brush, and like, that brush kind of defined the limitations. And so the new one is color, which is new for me. I've never used color in a comic, which is weird because I use color. Like a lot of people know my work, like Lightning Bolt covers or like album covers or my collages or prints. These like super colorful things. But then I have these comics that are all black and white. And that black and white has always been the limiting rule set. Like it's drawn with this pen, it's this size, It's black and white. So this new one has color, but it's still, I put a lot of limitations on each sort of set of things, each project. And it's funny. And then when you break that rule, it's just like, it's kind of weirdly this amazing thing. Like in my collages for years, it was like all my collages were built out of my silkscreen prints cut up. Like I would cut them up and I would make collages, and that's it. Right. And I feel one day I like drew something on a piece of paper and I stuck that in as well, and I was like, like holy shit! Like there's no limits or something.
I wonder if
and then I very quickly established a wider, like the border became bigger, but there's still these limits and parameters, and so I put a lot of limitations on.
Yeah.
Like what goes into each thing.
Do you think that benefits you because like it narrows the amount of decisions that you have to make, and so it in some ways it allows for creativity, and then so whenever you do break out of it, it's like I definitely know that this is working, and like I can go in this direction or something like that.
I think so. I mean, if you were to walk into a room and it was like every art tool imaginable laid out before you, it's just like what. I mean, it's almost like I'll find some like crayons in the corner or whatever and do my little thing. Yeah. I think, I mean, I have a couple. The other things it's less rules. So with this comic I'm working on now, like I'm drawing everything, and almost all my comics, like Ninja, I had this comic called Puke Force, and then this, like it's all kind of 8.5 by 11 paper, and like it just stacks so nicely. It looks so good. You can flip through it, and it's just like you pick it up, and it's almost like, you know, you're watching like fucking who's that author who everybody loves? Not Kerouac, but the sex guy. I don't know.
Bukowski, Ginsberg.
Not Bukowski. Not Ginsberg. The other guy rode his little bike around. They made a movie about him or two. Anyway. It's like you just picture like the novelist, and he hands in the manuscript, you know, and it's this pile of papers, and on the top is like a hand typed like blah 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 blah, Cupid in the wind or whatever, like by Bubba the Boo or whatever. And I so like with my drawings and my comics, I love these stacks of like size things, and it's partially just like I don't know what it is. It's just like. It's like a book. I'm fascinated by books. I love books, and I love like stacks are kind of like books with no binding, or whatever. But they're still kind of a book. Right. You keep them together.
It feels like a life's work, as maybe I'm what I'm thinking. Like you pick it up, and it feels like, tangible.
Like I came out of art school, and I had like I had the one thing that's like a volcano or whatever, and I had the other thing with like fucking nails sticking out of it, and you're just like, and that's been a fucking burden to carry that shit through life or whatever. So at some point decisions were made to just make it like work and just be pleasant to live amongst each other.
Yeah.
Like the works have to like be with each other, and they have to fit into piles with each other and stuff. And so that's another limiting factor. It's just that like I'm not. And again, I hope I break that someday, and I make some weird fucking things with nails sticking out, and it's crazy. Because like again, Fort Thunder was very much like that, but Fort Thunder had this other limiting factor in that like it all went into this building, like we decorated it with everything. Like if you could attach it to the wall, like it was fair game or whatever. If like you could nail it or screw it or staple it or tie it to a string which would get roped around a thing, but it still you had to pass through it if it was a hallway. The doors had to open, like it had to work as like you had to live inside of it, and it had to work. So there were limiting factors. Like I have walls from Fort Thunder still, like in here, like shit that I've carried around, and you know, and it's like at some point the fucking soap dish fell off, and I still have the flat thing. It's just like it. I don't know. I've simplified that sort of stuff. But if I were to move into a space, you know, that was like mine, and even here I've started like shit starting to protrude from certain walls and stuff like. But for like my art that isn't an installation, I do kind of keep it pretty tight.
Okay.
Are there any kind of lived-in pieces or installations that stood out to you at Fort Thunder that either you thought were the best or ones that you miss a lot that maybe you couldn't take with you?
I miss that whole fucking place. Mm-hmm. I used to have every year I would have a dream for years, and I would be like, I'd be riding my bike and I'd look over and be like, what? It's still here. Because that warehouse got torn down. Like it's gone. It's a parking lot.
Yeah. It's
a parking lot for like a grocery store that went out of business, and like the Staples that closed down or whatever. Oh, it was like all part of their big plan to rejuvenate that part of town. They kicked out like us and like 15 other fucking psychotically awesome art spaces, like hundreds of artists creating crazy shit. They were like, this has got to go for a parking lot. Like, this is so
we got to
stupid.
Rejuvenate this area.
Yeah. It'd be like, you know, it's like this weird paper Silicon Valley. Like, it'd be like them, like, it'd be like, I mean, again, they would never have gotten to that point or whatever, but just like not recognizing that something is happening, you know, and that will lead to something. But anyway, I still have these dreams where I see it and it's there, and I'm like, it's still fucking there. And I like bike over, and there's still some shit hanging from the ceiling, and I'm like, we got to move back in. And I haven't had that dream in a while, but I had it again just like a couple weeks ago. Like I had a Fort Thunder. I was back. I was in there, and I had the same shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, we got to move back in. I mean, there's a lot of reasons I would not want to move back in. You know, like I need a little more space. I mean, I had a lot of space in there, probably more. Like me and Brinkman, Matt Brinkman was like, the two of us were kind of the first people in there with our friend Rob Cockshall, and we kind of like carved out a little extra space for ourselves over the years.
Yeah. Just
by, you know, we were like, I don't know, we're maybe assholes about certain things, but
started it.
I guess whatever. We claimed the most territory. But it was still tight quarters. Like nobody had a whole lot of room, and there was like one shower, and at times there were like 14 of us. Yeah. And it was also the spray out booth for the still screens. Like it looked like a murder scene, and there was like 5 cats or 6 cats or 7 cats and like one litter pan next to that shower. Like it was a mess. Yeah. And there were people at all hours. It was like wandering through for the 6 years that we were in there, 7 years or whatever it was. But man, I miss, like, you know, it's like I lived in this thing. I lived in this, like I built like a room, and then I built a tunnel around the room, and then another tunnel room up here, and another tunnel room, and then I cased it in this like thing that looked like a mountain covered in patterns, and there were trapdoors and secret. there were like 6 different trapdoors to get into my space, and you could like there was so much shit hanging from the ceiling. Like I could like come down out of a trapdoor and sort of like hang amongst it during shows, and people wouldn't even know I was in there because I was just part of this.
That's so cool.
I miss, and we would have these huge parties, and I miss all of it, and I wish, but it's like many awesome things. Like if it was still here, the changes it would have gone through, like it wouldn't be what it was anyway. Yeah. So it's almost better. It's just this memory or something, but I miss it. Yeah, no, but then, and as for taking certain things out of it, like what, I like for a while I was building, and I still would if I had the opportunity. I haven't really had the opportunity. I started building these like because my whole thing, like my whole room was kind of paper. It was like wood frames with stretched paper over it, and it was silk screen prints covering everything. And then I went on to make a lot of my collages are stretched paper over wood frames. And so it was like kind of this thing I learned in Fort Thunder, like stretching this paper, like various layers of different papers and then collaging onto that. Like, so I learned these sort of processes and then took them into making this sort of fine art out of it. And I've made some like rooms and buildings, or like rooms basically, out of the same process for shows. And I love doing that, but it's funny. I remember years ago I had a show at the RISD Museum for like a wallpaper show, and I built this kind of gazebo-shaped thing, and I was really psyched about it because it broke down to different pieces, and you could bring it in. It was like a room, and the inside was this big scene, like a collaged scene, and the outside was all wallpaper. And this guy walked in, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, man. That's like Fort Thunder light."
No,
like that, and I think he meant it. He didn't mean it as an insult, although I don't know how you could not say that as an insult. Yeah. And it was probably like 5 years after Fort Thunder, and I was just like, "It is. You're right. It's like I'm just trying to bite a little piece of it off." But at the same time, whatever. It was.
There's a good crit. No,
that was a good crit. Yeah, there you go. There's another crit.
That's a crit.
That crit that was biting, and it was. But it wasn't exactly fair because it was also like. Well, it's. I mean, I developed a skill set in Fort Thunder, and I'm making art out of it. Like whatever. I mean, it was a little brutal. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah,
he just
Fort
rolled
Thunder's
in.
Also, a guy that was like at Fort Thunder once or something.
Yeah, and it's also Fort Thunder is a experiential moment in time. Like that's what makes it so unique.
Yeah,
like you were saying, like if it lasted forever, it wouldn't have that sort of special feeling, really. It wouldn't have that sort of legendary, mythic quality in some way. It would lose that.
No, it's good that it. I mean, it's not good that it died when it did. It could have gone a couple more years.
Yeah.
We could have burned that, but who knows? Like we had parties in there where I remember like we would do these haunted houses where you'd be crawling through tunnels. I filled my entire room with dried leaves. So we're like in an old mill. I'm filling with dried leaves, and there's like people smoking cigarettes, and there's like one exit if you crawl through 5 tunnels. Like, we'd probably be dead. Like, it probably would have ended in a disaster, like a national story disaster, like 500 kids go up in a ball of flame. I mean, I remember like we were jamming in the back room once, and I was like, I had this big metal bowl. I don't know where I got it. It's like this metal thing that we dragged in. We dragged in so much shit. And I was like, we were doing this like drumming noise thing in the back room. And I put all my old drumsticks in this metal thing, and I lit it on fire, and I had a flame going like, up to the 18-foot ceiling, licking the ceilings. And we were all like, yeah! And it's like, what the fuck? I'm like trying to raise a kid now, and I'm like, whatever you do, don't do what I did. Yeah. Because, like, I am just, the only reason I'm here is because I'm just lucky. Yeah. Like, everything I did, it's, I don't know. So, anyway, I treasure it, and part of me longs for those days, and then part of me is just like, life is tough. There's things about it that I wish were easier, but my life is good.
I remember. I mean, Fort Thunder started as literally Lightning Bolt's practice space, right?
Yeah, it was kind of named as such. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like where would
I
Lightning
remember
Bolt practice in
thinking
Fort
like
Thunder?
that was like the fact that it started not as a residence but as a practice space for, you know, basically an art studio, and like, you know.
But we lived there. There were 4 of us that lived there, but it was
even
like
in the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
even in the beginning, 4 of us
Okay.
moved in, and then Lightning Bolt practiced there, and then the name it was named that because Lightning Bolt practiced there. But it was
Gotcha.
so it was a residency. It was like 4 of us. Like I mean, you know, we were going to live in our practice space. You can call it what you will. Like,
Right.
we weren't renting 2 places.
Gotcha.
Not with those budgets.
Yeah. I think like what makes it interesting still to a lot of people is that's like, you know, a lot of people are that ideal of like the artists commune, all the friends living together and making art and doing all that stuff, and it kind of is like a
And it being successful
and it
too.
being successful. It's
Like,
a-
because sometimes they do it and it stinks.
Yeah.
But like the idea that it sort of starts from like, actually this place is for creativity and wild and things to, and like events and things to happen at, and we also happen to live here.
Yeah.
But like the everyone living there having to deal with the fact that this place is a wild place.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like the house and
And,
Fight
like,
Club or
you
something.
know,
Yeah, living was secondary. And
Yeah.
that was the rule.
so interesting.
It was like,
did that ever get difficult? Like living in that type of environment all the time? Like, did it ever wear on you?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I insulated the shit out of my room. Like, I had like all kinds of flammable fucking stuffing I stuffed around my bed to try to like sleep through shit. Like, I remember waking up one morning and there's this band Do-Rag, who I love.
Oh my god.
They slept over the house, and I woke up to the sound of they were making like these bombs. It was like, I don't know what they were doing, like Coke bottle, adding something to something, and they were throwing them under my loft. Like, 'cause I slept, it was like, I don't know, like 18-foot or 15-foot ceilings, and I had like a loft, like my bedroom was like 2.5 feet, or it was like a coffin I would climb into and like seal myself in there. So there was all this space below me, and they were throwing these fucking like pipe bomb things under my bed, and I was like, boom, you know, waking up to like boom, which was funny. That was one time when it was like, Jesus
Where do I
Christ.
live? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there was lots of times when it was like, what the fuck, this is
Was
so
there
difficult. You know, you're freezing.
Was there any situation that
I remember.
no?
No,
Was
go,
there any
go.
situation that was there any situation that stood out to you as kind of like the craziest, like what the fuck moment? Like either a person coming in that you don't know, or
Well, yeah, there was the people coming in that we don't know. I remember like it was like 3 a.m. once, and our front door had been broken for like a year. Like anybody could walk in, and it was literally like 3 a.m. and we're all in this. We had this like weird little TV zone. It was like up, and it was a TV in some lofted room, and there were like 3 of us sitting in there watching TV, and we heard the front door open. It was like 3 a.m. We like looked through the crack, and it was like the biggest dude we'd ever seen was just like in the door, and we were like, oh shit. So like go down, you know, we're like, because a lot of times like our landlord would come looking for us in there, our landlord, and we would all just hide. You wouldn't be able to find any of us. There was so much shit in there, you just couldn't find us. And you know, he'd be like, hey, anybody here? Anybody here? And there would be like 12 fucking people hiding in various spots because he was looking for the rent. We were always like at least $1,000 or $2 behind. But yeah, that night I remember that guy came in and we went down. A couple of, I think 3 of us went down. We were like, "What's up, buddy?" And he's just like, and the front room was a bike, like this. Our friend Peter had his bike shop right in the very front room, and when he was like, I'm looking for that place that sells bikes. Like he obviously just looked around. What was he doing? He just, came into the building, walked up 2 flights of stairs, opened this giant door, and then just like there were some kids there, and he like sort of like talked. But then he left. It was peaceful. It was fine. But it was definitely for a moment we were like, oh fuck, that guy. It's like this huge dude wandering around. But you know the craziest one was the time, maybe the craziest. I'm sure I could cycle through a lot. it was, again, 3 a.m, and I was printing, and I was blasting music, and I was printing, and I was wound up, and you're probably listening to something crazy, and I was just like, printing, still screening. So you're like, and I'm like, I hear this banging. This is when the door wasn't broken. And I hear this banging. And the print studio was, first it was the bike room, and then it was the print studio. Then it was the kitchen and the grand hall and a bunch of rooms where people lived and stuff. So I'm like, what the fuck is that banging? I'm like, oh, is someone at the door? I was like, what the fuck? So I like stomped down the hallway to the door, and the door is this big wooden door with a push bar. And I just kick it. I like kick it open. So, and it opens out. And the door opens out, and there are like 10 fucking cops with their guns drawn. Like, and I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? And they were like, hey, there's been gunshots in the area, and we think maybe the shooter ran in here. And I was like, there was the only other way in. There was a fire escape at the other end of the building, and that door was always like propped open. And I was like, whoa, that's fucking nuts. And so I'm just amazed they didn't shoot me when that door flew open, for one thing. Like, you know, again, obviously, like, white guy, less intimidating or whatever, but a door fucking flew open to a bunch of cops. Like, there wasn't much time to figure out who I was or what was going on. Like, I was lucky they did not, whatever. And they were looking for a shooter. You know, they were looking for a shooter. So then they come in, and I was trying to be super cool. I was like, here, come with me. I'll show you where the fire escape is. Like, I'll walk you through the whole place. So anyway, that was the scariest point. But then it was weird. They went from being nice, like a lot of cops, to being like dicks. And then, like, the dude literally is just like, tell me where the guns are. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he's like, tell me where the guns are. And I'm like, we've got like a couple squirt guns in here, but there are no guns in here. And then they're like, the cops are like going into people's rooms with their guns. God. There was like a fucking guy with a dog and like a shotgun. They're like going into people's rooms, and I'm like, hey, if you go in there, like, there's a person sleeping, like, you might surprise them, and they might like jump up. I'm trying to like, and he's like, tell me where the guns are. I'm going to throw you off the fucking fire escape, dude. And I was like, oh my God. And I mean, they finally sort of calmed down, and they left, and nothing happened. No one got shot, you know, and it was like, but again, it was like this really tense, weird moment. And the craziest part is, it turned out that our neighbor, like my now wife at the time, like, lived upstairs in this other space. Like, Fort Thunder was like half of a building, and then there was another half of the building on this side. Like, we had like 8,000 square feet over here, and then there was another 8,000 square feet and a third floor, and there were like 4 different apartments. And my later soon wife or whatever lived up there, and they or like she or her friends did. I don't know if she'd moved in yet. Basically, her friend or this guy they knew had been up there shooting a fucking gun off the roof. We found this out way later. Like, there was actually a dude in our building shooting a gun off the roof. He was just like wasted, like, whoa, like blowing. And I mean, he very sadly turned that gun upon himself years later, but in another area. So it was kind of a weird, I don't know, it was a weird night, but it was a night where it was just like, but again, it didn't occur to me like as forever. Like, some people might be like, I can't live like this. And I was just like, we got to fucking need a peephole in our door. So I know, it never occurred to me. Like, there was nothing that would have ever made me think we can't live like this. I think, I don't even, like, the roof could have blown away, and I probably would have been like, I could make this work.
Just put some paper out.
Seriously, yeah. Like, the space I had afterward, this hilarious attic place, that was a crazy space. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I could go on forever. That building was like 250,000 square feet. It was like this huge building. It was like a whole block. And we moved in there. It was a rope factory. A bunch of my friends moved in first. I moved in a couple of years later. I'd been living in this other like little weird hole in the ground around the corner. So I moved in later. And then we lived in there. They started like around 2001. They went directly from Fort Thunder after a few months to that place. And I had like a 2-year other interim zone. So it was a rope making factory, the whole place, and then just the top. It was amazing because he, on our lease or whatever, he wrote it as Fledgling Artist Group. So it was like FAG, like he had written that in it, like this like old man landlord, like we were the fag floor, which was really hilarious. So we put a little doorbell in like way down on the first floor, and it was like, you know, like FAG Fledgling Artist Group or whatever, which was an inside joke to us. But so around 2008 or 2009 or 2010, or I don't even know, he was just like, guys, the building's going to sell. I'm selling the building. He really liked us. He was a really sweet old man. He sold his rope making factory to the last rope making factory in the New England or whatever, in the East Coast. I don't know about the whole country, but so like, you know, we would go to sleep to like these whirring noises like our whole time there. And then that went away. He's like, I'm selling the building April 1st. And this was probably like December. And so he's like, each month, you know, someone would move out because the building was selling. And each month he would lower the rent by that amount. So we each paid $350 a month. So April 1st rolls around, and because I'm just a fucking moron or whatever, I'm lazy, I don't even know. Everybody moved out except for me. I just didn't move out. April 1st rolls around, and he's just like, the sale fell through. And he's like, yeah, just pay me $350. So I paid $350 for like 7,000 square feet. God. And at some point, my girlfriend, Jung, moved back in, now wife, Jung Il Hong, who's an awesome artist in her own right. She moved back in and it went up to $700. But for the whole time, like basically from then on, we had 7,000 square feet on the top of this building and then 250,000 square feet of just empty space all around us. There were like about 2 years where like all these crazy like kind of punks and artists moved in and it got like real wild and became another like heyday. And then they all got evicted, yet somehow we stayed. And that place, so that's the place. So by the end of its time, Jung had moved out again because it was just like a wreck. And like it barely had any heat. And like the roof was caving in areas. Like I was keeping my bedroom like going. I was like, I'm going to keep this pristine. So I was like, I would redo the roof. I was like tarring and like fixing the roof. But if you went behind the wall to the stairwell, the roof was like caving in. And it wasn't until like they forced me out of that place. They were like, we're condemning the building basically, or it's about to be condemned. But that was literally like, I was just like, if I can keep a roof over this part of the building, I'm good. Yeah, this is all I need. That place was heaven. I mean, I had so much space. I had space for forever. It got a little sketchy by the end. People were starting to break in on the lower floors, but
so it was like a squat too, like real, like.
By the end, it was getting kind of no one was living there. People were just kind of exploring. It was just this crazy giant mill, you know, and people started to bust into windows, and it got a little like, you know, I had to like shore up my defenses on the third floor. It got a little Omega Man, but I loved it.
In terms of Providence, I feel like, I don't know, I heard one stat that it had more artists per square mile than anywhere in the world maybe, but what do you think makes that place unique in terms of artistic expression?
I think, for my time, it's changed a lot. I don't think it is as strong as it used to be in that way, by any means. I mean, I'm a little, I'm like in this dad dimension now, so I'm not seeing as much. I'm not going to as much as I used to. I'm like going to soccer games and like, having like 12 kids terrorizing the yard or whatever. Like that's where I'm at now. But, for a while it was just like cheap industrial space, like major art school, cheap industrial space. Like up until, again, this is ancient history now, but like when we started Fort Thunder in 95, like everybody would like finish RISD and they would leave. But by the kind of mid-end of our time there, people just wouldn't leave. They would like leave, finish RISD and stay and get space. And it was like, cool. It was really exploding. And there's been multiple heydays. In my mind, there's been like 3 spatial heydays that I've lived through and like lived in. Somehow it's like always like I'm in it somehow. and like we're just like there's like 10 spaces with like 10 different code names and like shows all the time and people making stuff. But the last one in that I was a part of and remember was like 2012, and I think since then the musical chairs of like Great Space has dwindled. Like they've taken away too many spaces, and even now there's like this place called Atlantic Mills, which is this like huge amount of space that just got sold or is about to get sold, and it's not looking good. And it's, I don't know, too many kind of linchpins have been pulled out of the thing. But so I don't know. I just don't even know how any coastal city. I just don't. It's just like so hard now.
I think we were talking about this last time, which is like kind of a prerequisite for an artistic community is the ability to like live cheaply, by any means.
Yeah.
And it seems like that almost doesn't exist anymore in some sense, or it's diminishing in a way that is like truly affecting art. Because like then the only people that can practice art are doing it in this very kind of like professional corporate way, and it kind of robs it of that magic that's required, that sort of like grunginess, whatever you want to call it. Because that's definitely in some way. I mean, we're talking to you from New York right now. That's how it feels like in New York.
Yeah, I can't imagine New York. I've never figured out how that works.
Yeah.
I don't know. My friend Oz has like 2 floors of a building in Bushwick, and he does it by it's like all studios. But yeah, you pay for your studio basically.
Yeah,
but that's the only. Yeah. It can't be like a cool. I mean, it's really cool, but it can't be like an anarchistic type deal anymore. It's just got to be like, how does the rent get paid? Yeah.
And you hear about stories of artists that were here and decades ago, and they were getting whole warehouses or doing something crazy. They were figuring out some way to do something cool like that. I don't know. To me, that seems totally unfathomable. I don't even know how you would.
I mean, I remember like stumbling into Red Hook, like I don't know, 15 years ago, and just being like people just had like whole blocks.
Yeah.
I mean, they sort of. So what's Pioneer Works sort of has that vibe. If you've ever been to that venue in Red Hook,
no.
It's sort of like a whole block that this artist rents, and I can't remember his name. But it's cool. It's a venue, and it's got like a whole weird garden outside. It's cool, but it's like I remember back, and then like I remember the first wave of my friends that moved down to Williamsburg, like this band Les Savy Fav moved down to Williamsburg in like 1996 or 7, and they had this like rad big space, and then ever since it's been like so I don't it's a different it's like I guess people say, well, we got the internet now, and that's where you can this is free world. Do I believe that?
Do you think that can actually have that same type of community though? Because I feel like that's been preached for a while, and I just haven't seen that come into.
I think
it's great if you're like
that caution thing, like that you were talking about, like this like the people coming up now or whatever in art school. It's like the internet is where they exist, and the internet is a very physically safe place in a lot of ways. Like
like
not mentally safe though.
Would you say?
No, that's not mentally safe though.
Psychologically safe, but like
the danger is psychological.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you now our art experiences are sort of more often curated through like a digital world, a clean digital world where like
totally
like a hilarious attic or a Fort Thunder type thing might actually feel physically dangerous, like in an uncomfortable way at this point.
And there's also like less commitment. Like you can move from genre to genre, style to style, like seamlessly. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
But I wonder if it is weird though, because it is a psychological danger on the internet. Like there is true danger. It's like fucking crazy. Like hate speech has no problem growing like fucking poison ivy or whatever. I do wonder if there's some other
maybe that's an element of it. When you lose that physicality, then there's like this push towards like extreme thought in all directions everywhere. Like when you
For
don't have
sure.
like this outlet, maybe in
Right, yeah,
some
if
way.
you can't like have the nails sticking out of everything, you kind of like
Yeah,
the
you're
hate
like,
speech gets
how can I
Yeah.
how can I like have this accessory that is dangerous
right.
in a digital world?
Yeah, and when you're not like looking people in the eye,
Right.
and when you hurt them physically, you can talk about it, or you can, I don't know. It's
You also have
but
repercussions too, because like the person is
yeah,
there. It isn't.
but I do wonder if art from this period will be looked at, in retrospect. There's something magic happening because of this switch from physical body to like cerebral. Like
I think
there might be something special going on that we just sort of see it as just like this fucking sucks
yeah, right.
because like we used to like fucking hang out and like fall downstairs together,
Right.
and now I'm alone in a room like typing.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, we still play. It's like we still play fun shows. We still get to. I still meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
The spaces are not
You're playing with
what
Black
they
Moth
were.
Super Rainbow soon, right?
Apparently, we are.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
festival.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, and a bunch of other. Yeah, that's going to be wild. Or it's going to be what it is. It's going to be a festival, music
Yeah.
festival. I don't think it'll be like kicking a door open to a room full of cops, but
Right. Well, I mean,
probably
what
better.
What can compare to that?
what could compare? But yeah, I'm curious what. It's funny. It's like I love Fort Thunder, and I love that era, and I love everything I learned, and I love everything I got. But I actually don't hate the internet era either. I'm
Right.
kind of like I'm making a living off of it or something. Like and I still I still hang out with people. Like I'm not so obsessed. I feel bad for people that didn't come through, that didn't get to be, like our kids. Like what? But then
Yeah.
my kid hangs out with people.
Yeah, but just
He
to know
loves
what it was
people.
like before the internet. I mean, it just seems
Yeah, of course.
like a wild thing to not know what it was like. But
Yeah, it seems crazy. And to not have a fucking connective tissue,
yeah,
this telepathic fucking thing in your pocket. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of where sort of real physical things like meetings and groupings, like where does that go next, and what form does that take, and sort of also being able to identify. Like it was crazy. I like last week I was hanging out with this guy. He used to be called Juicebox. His name's John. He has this cool Substack, which maybe still goes by Juicebox on. But he started working for this thing called Nina Protocol, which is I guess like a Bandcamp kind of replacement.
okay.
I don't even know John's last name. He's just always been Juicebox to me. But his deal with Nina Protocol is he's been kind of doing he's like a researcher, and he's kind of like researches scenes. And he's just like, wow, there's actually this crazy screamo scene in Providence, or at least in Rhode Island. And there's like a festival happening for like all these super young kids are in these like screamo bands.
Interesting.
Just like, and I was like, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where that's happening, but it's happening. There's something happening, and I'm just not aware of it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just like I feel like culture is sort of like water. It's like it's gonna find a way, and it may have these moments of shitty shit or something, but people are gonna figure out how to hang out with each other and make things together. I think.
Yeah. I think it is like I don't think I was really even commenting on like the lack of hanging out, but just
Right.
the safety of the
Safety of the hanging out.
context of experiencing art in this way. I mean, like, and then when
It
we
could-
do hang out, it's more, I don't know, yeah, like,
I wonder. It could very well be that it's just like this pendulum, and we're in this era of like safety.
Yeah, and it does also feel like there is. I mean, from the data that I've been looking at, like the sheer engagement numbers of people that are on like social media have actually waned because like the algorithm, the way that it is, like doesn't actually foster connection as well as it used to. If that sounds weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't
sure.
because it's like it's pushing everyone into these like the For You pages and things away from your friends, so it doesn't feel like connection.
Yeah, right.
And so
Yeah.
like it feels alienating, and so people are using it less. And it's like maybe that's because there was like a really kind of a great age, an internet age where everything felt like it was connected, whether it was
Totally.
Tumblr or any of these kind of like weird avenues of the internet. There was like
Even like early Twitter. I mean, I felt like,
Yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, early anything. Like even when Instagram started, I was like, this is awesome.
Instagram was fun. It felt really communal, and it felt like a Wild West because it wasn't this like super polished place to like make your, it feels like LinkedIn now, where it's like you're making a
Totally.
business resume to like escape normie life, whereas before it was like it's just this whatever, fuck it, who cares, and
Yeah,
like,
totally.
and like it had this freshness to it, and I don't know, I feel like that has to exist again in some corner of the internet. Like wherever that freshness is, like people are going to start going there at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I wonder if there will just be like trends, like fashions of social media. Like
Yeah,
we've only had the first fashion of it or something, or like the first two fashions,
bottoms or something.
and then we're gonna like.
Totally. I can't imagine. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
so hard to project what the hell.
And then like in 30
It's
years
coming.
they'll be like, remember when Instagram was like this, and they'll want to go back to that. I don't know how it's gonna work. It's so
Yeah.
Oh,
weird.
right. Like the way like 80s bands come back or whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be the same sort of thing.
Remember how the internet was in 2010? Or,
Remember how good funk was? Let's start bringing funk back,
Yeah.
and then like let's bring threads back. I
Oh
don't,
my
know. I don't know if
God.
that's
Let's
gonna.
bring
I don't know if they're gonna
Yeah,
say
maybe
that.
Threads won't be the one, but
I hate Threads.
Yeah, I mean, talk about dying on. I think the thing happened with Thread.
Dying on the vine, dying on the thread.
Yeah, Thread. It just got too like spammed out. Like you get on there, like, damn, I feel like I'm getting spammed out right now.
yeah,
A bunch of spam.
it's a lot of fights. It's like
A lot of
it's like on
fights.
X. Like I don't go
Oh,
on Twitter
yeah.
anymore. It's like as soon as I open up, I see like 6 street fights, just like different.
True. It's
Just
like
people fight.
rotten.com.
People fighting constantly.
There's that danger. There's that danger we're looking
there's
for.
the danger. Yeah,
The
but
psyop.
it's the safest. It's like I'm watching it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
I
even
mean,
on the
that's-
street
Yeah,
next
but
to the person.
but it destroys your soul.
yeah.
That's the funny thing. I mean, that is a weird, like in a political sense, a lot of the safety measures are definitely have come from like, it's weird. They come from both sides, but a lot of like the progressives have instituted a lot of the safety measures.
Right.
And so it's weird sometimes to see parallels. You're like, oh, parallels in right-wing culture that parallel like the rowdiness of my upbringing in a
Yeah,
way.
right,
And it's
right.
like, oh, what am
Yeah.
I supposed to think about that?
Yeah. Right. Ooh, yeah.
I know, but I do think it's like a pendulum on both sides, and it's going to swing the here and there, and progressives are going to miss getting cut and bleeding and stuff, and they'll come back around.
Right. They'll remember they're the party of getting cuts and bleeding.
Yeah, party up. All right, that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know, Brian.
I appreciate
That was so
you
cool.
taking the time to.
Dude, that was sick. I think that's the longest. We went marathon. That was like
We talked about a lot of good subjects.
People are gonna be stoked. This is gonna be
Joe
so cool.
Rogan length. Joe
Yeah, dude,
Rogan
we
length
just Rogan'd
podcasting.
you. That's for sure. That was like 3 hours, wasn't it?
I'm
We
gonna-
didn't even talk about psychedelics.
Oh dear.
about to guess your pin code right now, like Oz Perlman or whatever his name is.
You're gonna guess my pin code?
Did you see that guy?
Which
No,
one?
I didn't see that one.
This guy's all over the internet guessing people's pin codes. Anyways,
Whoa.
yeah,
Well, that's a good trick. I mean, that's
it's kind of
if
insane.
you're gonna learn magic.
It's kind of
learn how to
scary.
Figure out.
That's
people's
kind of
pin codes.
scary. Mine's pretty fucking easy
It's,
because I'm too stupid to have a hard one. I got to keep it real dumb.
it's such a dichotomy. It's like I make
All
a
that
hard
stuff.
one that I can't remember, or I make the one I can remember.
Fuck! I can't even remember my own pin code. Damn.
Every once in a while, I can't fucking. It's so dumb, and even one. That's when I'm really like I'm old. I'm like, oh my god, oh fuck,
The same
4
number.
numbers.
It's when you second guess yourself. You're like, is that really it?
Yeah.
And then your heart starts beating. You're like, oh my god,
God.
am
Those are the days when like my son sleeps. We still sleep with our kid. He's 8, but I love the kid. I don't know. It's awesome. But it's definitely
in the same bed with our kids for a long time, but
yeah,
not anymore. But yeah. It's so nice. It's so cozy.
It's so nice. It's I mean, there's no better time than when they're sleeping. You know.
No, you're
like, there's no better time, and it's fleeting. It's not going to last much longer.
No.
But there's some nights where it's just like fucking flying elbows every night, and you're like, I don't remember anything in the morning.
Once we had the second one, it was like, okay, their own bedroom. They get
their own. You can't fit 2. That's too crazy. And then you get the dog or something in there. It's the end. It's all over. All right, let's wrap it.
Right, yeah. Thank you, Brian.